I'm Sarah Star, and this is your space weather forecast of the day. So if you haven't seen the Schumann yet, we are getting a massive energetic wave right now. Now this is extremely unusual, so keep that in mind. This is a massive energetic shift within the whole collective. And within the past couple of days, we have had some large solar activity, several CME. Now this energy is coming directly from these solar winds, and it is basically going directly into our global magnetic circuit right now. Now this graph is in Tomsk, Russia right now. So this dark part is when it was nighttime there. We usually get a lot of electromagnetic spikes whenever it turns daytime, which is what we're getting right now because it is turning light. But what it looks like to me is that there's a technological data processing glitch that they were trying to fix with that, and that's why we have this specific little burst here. But I believe the whole thing is, one straight line. But mind you, this is the biggest energetic shift we've had so far. Now there is a lot of energy in our background electromagnetic spectrum right now, obviously, as you can tell, but it's biologically linked to the human biofield, and this is directly linked to consciousness. Now keep in mind, these are not the highest energies we have. It's basically the bulk of it is around 1 to 5 hertz. This is mode 1, this is mode 2. So it's technically between those two, between 5 hertz and 12 hertz right now, but the bulk of it is around this. Now these are alpha brain waves, and these influence dreams, those dreaming aspects. So if you had a lot of them, this would have a lot to do with it. This is a collective thing. Now, like I said, I believe this is more of a data processing glitch because we have such a big drop. Usually you don't see a big drop like this until it turns nighttime. However, look at the amount of energy we have. Now this is bleeding through a little bit into the higher hertz, but like I said, the bulk is around 5 to 12 hertz right now into mode 1 and to mode 2. And you can see we had a small spike here in our amplitude, and it has continued raising right now. Currently our amplitude is at 18, but it seems like this is just continuing. So throughout the day, we'll see exactly what the process of this specific spike does. But I also want to take a look at the Schumann in Hungary right now. So we did have a spike over here, a large spike, mind you. We don't really have any spikes in this area usually. Usually the magnitudes are down here in this graph. So it is primarily moved into our magnetic field. Now this is horizontal with the ground, so these waves are really taking a toll and effect on the collective consciousness. And like I said, it doesn't usually hit into the magnetic field lines like this, so it's pretty significant. And now this is in Italy. It has stayed dark because it was nighttime over there, and now it is turning into day. So we can see some spikes right here that are happening. So this is yet again telling us that this is in our magnetic field right now. And it is affecting globally, which doesn't super happen all the time, but that's why we triple check all of our Schumann resonance. But we will make sure that we keep an eye on our Schumann resonance from now until tomorrow and see exactly if this spikes into a higher frequency, if it does bleed down even more, and how long that this energy is staying with us. But let's check out the solar weather, because this has a lot to do with what we're getting from the sun right now. So we have 5 sunspot regions. Most of them are stable or in a state of decay. However, we are going to take a look at our largest region, 3559, and then again 3561. That is heading off of the limb of the sun right now. Notice we have 2 other new regions. They have not been numbered yet. However, that side of the sun is really lighting up. And we have not had too much solar activity today. Notice that our percentage for C-class flares is around 99. We do have a slight chance of falling into those M-class flares, those R1 to R2 radio blackouts, and we do have a 10% chance still of having these X-class flares, mainly from region 3559 and 3561 that is heading off of the sun. So here's our region 3559, by far the largest region that we have. However, it did die down in size and the number of sunspots, this has produced a lot of M-class flares, a lot of C-class flares, still in beta and gamma range. Now, it did drop down in the percentage of having an X-class flare from here. It went from, it was at 10 and 5, and now it's at 1. Our proton level also dropped into the 1% range, but we are expected to see some more C-class flares and a 20% chance of having an M-class flare from this region. And I know it's hard to see, but this region right here is 3561, also died down in size in alpha range now. But notice we do have a 5% chance of having an X-class flare. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I do not. Proton level also around 5%, still exact same percentage for these M-class flares and a little bit of a percentage with these C-class flares. But it is heading off the limb of the sun, so if it does produce a flare, there is a large possibility that we will have 0 Earth-directed components because it is just not facing Earth. Now, we do have another CME that erupted off of the sun today. Data is being analyzed if there is any Earth-directed components, but I just want you to take note that we did have one today. And the bulk of that plasma is yet again around that 500 kilometer per second. So this is very slow moving CME if we do have a glancing blow. But we do have more CMEs that are incoming, so this is around the 31st. So we are going to see a little bit of a weak enhancement in our solar winds. We are going to be grazed by this CME. As you can see, there's not going to be much of density anymore, but a slight increase in our solar winds, basically from the 27th until the 31st. Now, we were supposed to get these CMEs, however, we have had a very grazing influence of our solar winds. However, we are getting it on our Schumann, so we do have solar winds that are coming in. Actually, our solar wind dropped from 500 kilometers per second yesterday down into the 380 kilometers per second. But we were supposed to hit these G1 to G2 geomagnetic storm levels. We didn't get that. We went up to a KP3, almost into those KP4 levels, but it was a very weak enhancement. And today we're supposed to go into those KP5 levels. Will it happen? I'm not really sure because we really haven't had too many of those influence from all of those other CMEs. We are currently at a KP1. And our solar wind has died down. We are around 366 kilometers per second, so very, very slow solar wind. Density is almost non-existent. You can see a steady increase. However, I don't think we're really gonna have much of an increase. We don't have too much density into the atmosphere right now. It's more of those small, weak enhancements because we do have a negative polarity that is going to come in, and this is going to begin around the 28th and then continue into the 29th. But remember, the CME that I just showed you, we are going to see yet again another weak enhancement around the 31st from a grazing blow. But we do have two massive coronal holes that are now Earth facing. So those solar winds that are picking up and we're seeing in our Schumann resonance is because of these 94 and 95. And like I said, look at this side lighting up. We have 3561 that is heading off the sun. That's our main region over here, and that's why it's so bright. But these are our new ones. But we're going to see if our coronal holes do increase or if they do decay in size. However, we are going to see a big influence just from these coronal holes, especially if it is Earth facing. Yet again, this is affecting our Schumann resonance. But do you feel the uptick in energy? We also have a very large influence from planetary alignments right now. So after 4.5 months in retrograde, we now have Uranus going direct. This is a big shift in energy because this is going to help open us up to major changes that we have kind of been resisting. There's going to be a sense of kind of chaotic, kind of accelerated energy today, especially with the Schumann resonance. Your nervous system may feel overloaded. You may have a hard time processing new thoughts or emotions. But today is going to be wonderful for problem solving and getting things done because we have Mercury and Mars and they're working together for you. So don't worry, don't get frustrated, don't get impatient with the lack of action that is going on right now. Because once the moon shifts into Virgo, we are going to be able to examine all of these problems. We are going to come up with these out-of-the-box solutions, which is a really good thing. So let me know in the comments how this Schumann resonance energy is affecting you today. I'm Sarah Starr, and this is your space weather forecast for the day. Love ya!